Hello everyone, Zellerant here, and for today's video on Umamusume, we're going to be talking about making parents and whether or not it's worth it to run them in the Unity Cup or the URA, because I've seen a lot of misinformation out there on how running parents should be working within the Unity Cup. I know originally going into the Unity Cup starting, I also had the belief that the URA would be the better one to run, but now having run plenty of parents in the Unity Cup, it is 100% the better one to run for pretty much all of your parents going forward, at least until we get the buffed version of the URA. And so the biggest difference between them, I mean, a lot of people keep mentioning a bunch of other little things here and there, but the main difference between the two is the spark you get at the end. The URA gives you the URA spark, which gives speed and stamina. The Unity Cup one gives wit and power. And some would say the URA is the better one because of speed and stamina, but the way I view it is speed and stamina is the main ones. Those are the ones that you like have certain thresholds you have to hit. You always want to max speed, and you want to always hit your stamina thresholds. So those are the ones that you're going to emphasize harder when you're actually building the Uma, which means if there's anywhere you're sacrificing stats, it's on power and wit. So I have found the Unity Cup Spark can actually be better for topping up the power and wit while you're focused on making sure you're hitting your speed and stamina thresholds. And so that can be one of those things that can help you actually get top max wit or even very high power, like you've seen with maybe some of my Umas that I built for the Libra Cup. But ultimately, that is the biggest difference. Now, where there's a lot of information that I've seen on the Unity Cup is a lot of people think you have to do a parent run in the Unity Cup the same way you're doing an ace run, and that is just not true. That was a mistake I was making in the beginning that I have now kind of corrected, and yes, it makes the run so much smoother and so much more, the best word I could say is like brain dead, in the sense that when you're doing a lot of parent runs, you kind of just want to run them really quickly. Like when I do them, I'm like watching YouTube or something while I'm doing them sometimes. I'm not doing them on stream, and you don't want to have to think as much because they're just monotonous grinds to a certain extent. And you can do that basically in Unity Cup as well. And so what people are doing wrong, or what I've seen people say when it comes to the misinformation, one of them is you can't do optional races. It's very important that you're always chasing those bubbles so you can win the Unity Cup races, so that you can then get your training effectiveness or get your training facilities leveled up to like get your stats higher so that you can continuously do that. So you can't do those optional G1s. You're going to have a lower affinity. That is not true. You can continue to grind out the G1 races. You can almost treat the Unity Cup just like it is the URA. You don't have to be you don't have to go and chase those bubbles and skip the G1 races just because you have some bubbles that you can pop that are going to help you win the Unity Cup. And so one of the strategies I found that's worked is I'm no longer doing, unless it's like all double circles, I am not doing the top race on the Team Trials mode for the Unity Cup all the way through. I've been doing the middle one, and it is working out just fine. And even with doing that, I am still I'd say about half and half winning the final Unity Cup race. Now with that, the big thing for winning that last race does for you is it unlocks the ability to get No Stopping Me, which includes Nimble Navigator, as well as a little bit of a stat bonus. But as you know, these are parent runs. You're not worried about hitting max speed, max stamina, and getting as high of stats as you can. So if you lose that final Unity Cup, it's not the end of the world. You just need to finish the URA, and then you still have a chance at getting that Unity Cup Spark, even if you lost the whole Unity Cup. The ultimately still matters is the finishing the entire run through the URA. And even if you're not doing all the top ones on the Unity Cup Team Trials races, you're still going to have higher stats overall than you're ever going to get in the URA. And I can just use kind of one as an example here. The last one I built here recently, the Same Sky. So the deck that I'm basically using right now, and yours might be a little bit different, it's going to depend on everybody, but the main thing that I want to be using is Smart Falcon for groundwork. So I'm always using my Smart Falcon no matter what I'm building it for, just in case I get like a 3-star blue, 3-star red, a bunch of whites that can be a generic grandparent for anything. So I'm always bringing the Smart Falcon card. I know some people don't have one copy of it. For a lot of people, that's going to be your borrow. I have Sweep Tosho I just throw in there. Pretty good speed stat stick. She's there to potentially give me straightaway spurt. I feel like that's less important of one. I think a lot of people, you can just put a different card in there instead. And then I also borrow a King Halo because I actually don't have that one for Umamusume. That's the main thing. In the Unity Cup, these are the only cards I'm really bringing specifically for skills. Now, there are little things here and there. I bring a Tamamo Cross and Super Creek to be stamina stat sticks, and then she can give me Tail Held High, which I would like to get that built into my Sparks as well. Kita Sun Black, of course, is just a speed stat stick to make the run go smooth. But this is literally, I'm not bringing any cards for anything else other than Umamusume, Groundwork, and Straight Spurt. And that is because the Unity Cup has something very nice that URA doesn't, is you're getting a lot of random skills from those Spirit Bursts. And you're getting ones that you can't like get anywhere else, or not very easily. One of the big ones right now that you'll see with a lot of people is, like for the long Inside Scoop. You cannot get that outside of using the Gold Ship Speed card, I believe. And while I've used that card to try and get it on my aces currently, I know a lot of people probably don't want to use that because they want to use... they don't have as strong of a deck to kind of carry the Gold Ship card like mine does. And so they're going to have to use something instead like Sweep Toshu that can be a stronger stat stick, especially with the special priority and race bonus. And so those Spirit Bubbles can be ways to get those sparks. You got like Head On. Head On's another one for Pace Chasers. Unless you're doing like a Mayano Top Gun, I don't believe it's anywhere else on a support card. And so you can randomly get it in Unity Cup, but you can't get it in the URA. And you can say that with all the skills. There's tons of them. I can't even think of all of them off the top of my head. And so you can bring a stronger deck overall just because you can get a lot of your sparks just from those Spirit Bursts by themselves. And when it comes down to, when you can look at all the skills I was able to pull off on her, I mean, I didn't get the strongest inspiration here. But as you can see, I got all of her typical stuff. Randomly got, I mean, you have the Spark too. That's another one. You can't get this in your URA. And eventually, once we move on to Make a New Track and other scenarios where these Spirit Bursts are no longer there, these are always going to be good skills, especially in the future, that if you can get them established in your parents' lines now, and then as you continuously grind in the future, and if you can keep kind of a little bit of establishment of these just in the mix, it can still have value down the line when even when you're no longer running this. But you have that. Got Umamusume here. From there. I think I randomly got Stamina Eater on here. I think I randomly... Like, some of these are random. Cloudy Days was just a random one it picked up. But, let me look at some others here. You can, like, look at here. She's just picking up all kinds of crazy stuff that I just pulled. The medium straightaways, mile straightaways, anything and everything. It's all over. It's going to be based on what their A's in, and so I just pick up my skills from what I get from the Spirit Burst there. But then when it comes to the career itself, people say you can't do optional races. That's not an issue at all. As you see, I did 21 races and 19 wins with Seiyun Sky. Only one she lost is the Tenno Show Spring, of course. That's the one she typically loses on me. But still was able to get strong enough stamina so that we didn't get stuck there, luckily. Unity Cup is very good about helping keep your stats high enough to actually be able to finish the races at least. But overall, yeah, I had no problem. As you can see, she did end up having Nimble Navigator, which the only way I had access to that in this run was through winning the Unity Cup. So she was able to win it, doing 21 races and doing all of the team trials on doing the middle race. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to be, you're going to win it every single time. I've definitely seen that it is about a 50-50. I win it about half the time and I lose it half the time. On your parent run, that just means you're losing out on the potential for a Nimble Navigator Spark. This isn't an ace. You don't need it. It's not mandatory. It'd be nice to get a Spark on it. But in this case, I didn't even get the Spark for it, so it didn't really help me out there anyway. And yeah, that's kind of just what I wanted to bring up here. There's just been way too much misinformation on it. The URA, to me, until we get the buffed version, I'm not really going to be running that anymore. I could see in the future, once we have the buffed version and we have the autoplay, maybe that one might be better. But Unity Cup is, I mean, eventually we have better cards. Both of them will be nothing burgers because the stronger our cards are, they're just going to dominate the races. And you won't even have to worry about winning and losing anymore. It's going to be more about specific sparks, which then URA you might want to focus on if you're really wanting to get that URA spark versus the Unity Cups. But for now, I'd say just continue to grind in the Unity Cup. Don't worry too much about the team trials. You can just treat it just like the URA, and it's really no different, other than that you can get those additional skills through the Spirit Bursts. But that's it for now. I thought I'd just make this quick video on it. And if you like my content, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.